Hey, Shalom, Israel. Yahweh Bashim, Yahweh Shai Barak Thumb to the brothers watching, Yahweh Shemal Thumb, Bashim, Yahweh Shai to the sisters. This is the ISUPK started out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General Yohana. And we teach the truth concerning the Bible, the truth that so-called Black, Hispanic, and North American Indians are the chosen people of God, the 12 tribes of Israel, and our oppressor is the devil that the Bible speaks of. You're tuned in with Precinct Officer Howard Moore, ISUPK, Kentucky, and tonight is our Monday night history class. Now, we finna get into tonight. What we finna get into tonight is our inventions and the white patent office. All right, black and brown inventors and the white patent office. Before we get into it, I want to invite every so-called Black, Hispanic, and North American Indian to tune in. ICPK Kentucky weekly content. Of course, Monday night history class, Tuesday night brotherhood class hosted by Officer of 1,000. I'm a Wonga boy. Wednesday law class taught by Officer of 1,000 ISUPK. And Wednesday night the podcast. All right, the baddest podcast in Kentucky. All right, Cry Out, Spirit Out podcast. All right, hosted by Officers of 1,000. I'm a Wonga boy and ISUPK. And come here from these powerful priests of the Lord in the UPK under Commander General Yohana and hear how they break down and give the biblical solution to all of these viral videos going across the internet. Now, let's go ahead on and get into it, y'all. Let's go ahead on and get into it. All right, Monday history class. All right, I got that drop for y'all tonight. I got straight drop tonight as usual. All right, black and brown inventors and the white patent office. All right, let's walk. Now, before we get into it, I want to define a term because I'm going to use this term quite often tonight when we're talking about Blacks, Hispanics, and North American Indians. All right, the term is American Indian. All right, and it's because of U.S. sensationalism that our oppressor pushes. All right, based on the rape and robbery of our cultures. All right, it's the rape and robbery of our cultures that turned this nation into what it is. And because of that, our oppressor has this thing called U.S. exceptionalism. All right, so when you hear the name America, you automatically think United States. All right, when you hear American Indian, you automatically think Cherokee or Menominee, right? But the term American Indian, as defined by the census, says a person having origins in any of the original people of North and South America, including Central America. All right. So if you are indigenous to the Americas, if you're indigenous to North, Central, South America, including the Caribbean islands, all right, by census definition, you are American Indian. Now, that's important because I'm going to use this term often tonight. And when I use this term, I don't want you to be confused with the white man's U.S. exceptionalism. All right, so understand when I use the term American Indian, I'm talking about the indigenous people of North, Central, and South America. I'm talking about the Northern Kingdom of Israel, so-called Hispanics and North American Indians. So now that we got that out the way, let's go ahead and walk this down for y'all. All right, American Indians had a variety of tools to help with map making. The Spanish explorers adopted these methods. Now, this is why I didn't want y'all to get confused by the term American Indian. Because by definition, American Indian is the people indigenous to North, Central, and South America. And what is it saying? It's saying that the invaders adopted our methods of map making. All right. The invaders adopted are methods of map making. Let's walk. All right. Ancient civilizations in much of Mexico and Central America were making different grades of rubber for at least 2,000 years before Charles Goodyear. All right. Ancient rubber makers harvested latex from rubber trees and mixed it with juice from morning glory vines, which contains a chemical that makes solidified latex less brittle. All right. Source, National Geographic. And again, the indigenous people of the Americas, North, Central, and South, were making rubber 2,000 years before Goodyear. Now, why is that important? We're talking about the inventions of black and brown people and the white patent office. All right, the indigenous people of the Americas were making rubber 2,000 years, all right, according to the History Channel, before Goodyear. And this is what Goodyear was worth as of 2020. All right, Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company as of 2020 worth $5.4 billion. Again, we're talking about black and brown inventions and the white patent office. All right. And the winter of 1609 was treacherous for American settlers. Some of the 300 colonists at Jamestown died during this period called the starving time. Evidence suggests they were eating their fellow colonists. Now we're talking about Jamestown now. We're going to be jumping all over the Americas today. And that's why I wanted to get out the definition when I'm talking about American Indian. All right. Again, don't get caught up in the white man's U.S. exceptionalism. And when you hear America, you think the United States. When you hear Indian, you just think Cherokee or Menominee. All right. So when I use the term American, I'm talking about North, Central, and South. When I'm talking about Indian, I'm talking about the indigenous people of all of the Americas, North, Central, South, and the Caribbean islands. Now, Jamestown was in Virginia. All right. They had 7 failed colonies in North America prior to Jamestown, Virginia. Now, Jamestown was on the brink of collapsing too, to the point that these people were actually eating each other. All right. These people couldn't get it rocking. These people couldn't even grow food for themselves. And it got to the point of cannibalism when they were eating their fellow colonists. All right. It says none of the colonists' efforts to establish profitable enterprises were successful until the first documented enslaved 20 and odd Negroes arrived in Virginia in 1619. Now, here's your source. All right. American Revolution Museum. All right. It says none of the colonists' effort to establish profitable enterprises were successful until the first documented enslaved 20 and odd Negroes arrived in Virginia in 1619. All right. This is when the first permanent English colony in North America became successful, because none of these people had a successful, profitable enterprise. None of these people were successful until the arrival of black people in Virginia in 1619. Now, I want y'all to keep that in mind when we're talking about innovation, when we're talking about inventions. All right, keep this in mind. It said none of the colonists' effort to establish profitable enterprises was successful until the first documented enslaved 20 odd Negroes arrived in Virginia in 1619. 1619 was the point that the colonists got it popping, and it was all thanks to black people. And I want y'all to keep that in mind throughout this class tonight. All right, let's walk. The Iroquois Great Law of Peace, the Iroquois Confederacy, founded by the Great Peacemaker, 1142, is the oldest living democracy on earth. When we're talking about the Iroquois Confederacy, we're talking about the Indians of the northeastern United States. All right, the people that the English colonists would have ran into when they got to putting their 13 colonies together. All right, it says this is the oldest living democracy on earth. So what are we saying? All right, 1988, the U.S. Senate paid tribute with the resolution that said the confederation of the original 13 colonies into one republic was influenced by the political system developed by the Iroquois Confederacy, as were many of the democratic principles which were incorporated into the Constitution itself. All right. These people, the colonists, the colonizer, the people that we call white folks today, all right, got their constitution from a document called the Great Law of Peace that was created by the Iroquois Confederation, which is a confederation of American Indians in the northwestern United States. All right. These people were the ones that the colonists were introduced to. And it says the confederation of the original 13 colonies into one republic was influenced by the political system developed by the Iroquois Confederacy. All right. Their entire government was copied from the indigenous people of the Americas or the American Indian. Let's walk. All right. The U.S. Constitution owes its notion of democracy to the Iroquois tribes, including freedom of religion, freedom of speech, and the separation of powers in government. All right. All of this comes from the indigenous people of the Americas. All right. All of this comes from the Lord's chosen people. All right. Blacks, Hispanics, and North American Indians are the greatest people to ever walk the face of this planet. All right. Let's walk. All right. During the winter of 1890, we employed a number of Maya. All right. Now we're talking about the people of southern Mexico, Central America, all right, who came from very small villages, remote from Spanish European influence. All right, 1890, we still had small pockets of people, all right, that hadn't come into contact with European influence. All right, it says their evenings were passed in singing melodies in their native tongue, accompanied by a stringed instrument, which I have never seen. All right, so we're talking about indigenous people, American Indians in Mexico. All right, the people that we call the Mayas today. All right, the biblical tribe of Zebulon. All right, it said their evenings were passed singing melodies in their native tongue, accompanied by a stringed instrument, which I have never seen described. So these Europeans weren't familiar with stringed instruments. We're going to find out what this stringed instrument is. All right, Anthropologist for September 1898 shows the existence of a pre-Columbian stringed musical device in a paper entitled The Musical Bowl in Ancient Mexico. All right, here's your source from 1899. And these people were unfamiliar with stringed instruments. So what are we talking about? We're talking about the origin of the modern day guitar. All right, the origin of the modern day guitar comes out of people in Mexico. Now, why is this important? Why is this important? All right, Adair and his American Indian. All right, we're talking about James Adair, the Sephardic Jew, the same Sephardic Jew that said the Choctaws and Chickasaws were descended of 12 tribes of Israel. That's a sidebar. It says the Choctaw and Chickasaw descended from a people called the Chicamaca, who were among the first inhabitants of the Mexican Empire. So it's saying here that the Choctaw Indians come out of Mexico. All right. The Choctaw and Chickasaw Indians that used to inhabit the American Southeast, we're talking about Mississippi and Alabama. These people originally come out of Mexico, where the origin of the modern day guitar comes from. All right. And the people that had the very first guitar traveled into the American South and became what we know as Choctaw and Chickasaw Indians. They carried their culture with them. Why is this important? All right. Unknown to many is the reality that not all members of Native American tribes in the Mississippi Delta region actually moved away from their homelands during forced removal. Now, we're talking about the Trail of Tears. We're talking about when the Indians of the South were being sent to reservations in Oklahoma. All right, it says many in that time hid out and continued to live in their original areas, married, had families, and often passed for former slaves. All right, most notably among these in the Mississippi region are members of the Choctaw tribe, now known as Mississippi Band of Choctaw Indians. Now, we just read the Choctaw came out of Mexico originally. And Mexico is where the origin of the modern day guitar comes from. Why is that important? In the same era the Delta blues began, led many members of this tribe who were of Choctaw descent. One of those men is Charlie Patton, credited by all as the father of Delta blues music. All right, we're talking about the origin of the modern day guitar, all right, and blues music. We're dealing with the indigenous people of the Americas. And Mississippi Delta blues is considered the origin of American music because it influenced all other genres, including rock and roll, R&B, gospel, country, and rap. And I've said this before with this group that wants to claim hip-hop music for themselves or hip-hop culture for themselves. I'm not going to mention their name and give any credibility to them. All right. But the origin of rap music comes out of the blues. The blues comes out of the Mississippi Delta region. The father of Mississippi Delta blues music was a Choctaw Indian named Charlie Patton. And the Choctaws originally come out of Mexico, where the origin of the modern day guitar comes from. All right, let's walk. Native Americans were not credited for helping form blues, jazz, and rap. We're talking about an erasure of the culture of indigenous people. And it comes from a term I used at the beginning of class, which is U.S. exceptionalism. All right. It's the culture of indigenous people that influenced this country. It's the culture of Black people that influenced this country and made it what it became. All right. That our enemy comes up with the term called U.S. exceptionalism, that when we hear the name America, we automatically think the United States. But again, America is North, Central, and South, and the Caribbean islands. All right, let's walk. American Indians brew tea from bark of the American black willow, which contains the chemical salicin. Once it gets into the body, salicin produces salicylic acid, the active ingredient in modern aspirin. All right, the indigenous people of the Americas are responsible for aspirin. All right. And again, when I say American Indian, I'm talking about the indigenous people of North, Central, South America, and the Caribbean islands. All right. We are responsible for the origin of aspirin. Why is this important? All right. Bayer aspirin, the wonder drug. All right. As of January 2025, Bayer has a worth of $19 billion. All right, Bayer, as of 2025, has a worth of $19 billion. And how many people in the world know that aspirin was invented by the indigenous people of the Americas? All right, the Patent Act was one of the first pieces of legislation passed by the first U.S. Congress in 1790. All right, by the end of the 1800s, America had catapulted itself to the top of the world's economic food chain. And the U.S. patent system was one of the reasons why. All right. Source, the day that changed the world. By the end of the 1800s, America had catapulted itself to the top of the world's economic food chain. And the U.S. patent system was the reason why. Let's find out why. Let's find out what catapulted America to the forefront. All right, let's find out what catapulted America to being a superpower. All right, the patent system was not available to enslaved people. All right, the patent system was not available to enslaved people. Remember I said earlier that there were 7 failed attempts at establishing a colony in North America. Jamestown, Virginia was on the brink of collapse to the point that they were eating each other to death. And it wasn't until 1719 when Black people were introduced to the colony in Jamestown that it started to become successful. It wasn't until 1619 that the Jamestown colony started to become successful, and it was because of the introduction of Black people into these colonies. But the patent system was not available for enslaved people, as they were not considered American citizens, and the rights and provisions of the Constitution did not extend to them. All right, for Black inventors who were either born free or otherwise acquired their freedom, there were also legal barriers. The U.S. Supreme Court's 1857 Dred Scott opinion held that Black Americans could not be citizens of the United States. This is important when dealing with the Patent Office and why America was catapulted to the forefront and why America became a superpower. It's because you had to be a citizen of the United States to claim the patent. And because of the Dred Scott decision, Black Americans could not be considered citizens. Let's walk this down further. After the 1793, the Patent Act included a patent oath, which required patent applicants to swear to be the original inventor of the claimed invention and to their country of citizenship. All right, this was the patent oath. In 1793, the inventor had to have an allegiance to a country and a citizenship to said country. But even free Blacks were precluded from patenting their inventions because they did not have a country of citizenship and could not swear to the patent oath. All right, this is how so many inventions during this time period were stolen from Black and brown people. This is how so many inventions were stolen from Black and indigenous people because we were not citizens of this place. Therefore, we couldn't take the patent oath because we didn't have a country of citizenship. And that's how so many inventions were taken during this time period. And this is what catapulted the United States to the forefront and made these people a powerhouse. Made these people a superpower. Let's walk. The history of Black people's contributions to the catalog of inventions that marked the Industrial Revolutions has been largely muted. We'll never understand Black and brown's contributions to this country during the Industrial Revolution because of this goddamn patent office. We'll never understand the full scope of what was taken from Blacks, Hispanics, and North American Indians. All right, let's walk. All right, this period is considered one of the most innovative eras in world history. One of the most innovative eras in world history. And again, this is what made America a superpower. This is what made the United States a superpower. Seeing the birth of major advances in agriculture, transportation, communications, manufacturing, electricity that fueled rapid economic growth. We're going to get into all of these. We're going to get into all of these sections in this class tonight. All right, Bright Leaf Tobacco, 1850 on a farm. In this area, Abishai Slade perfected a process for curing tobacco. All right, Bright Tobacco, it says an old Negro, the first to cure it. All right, source to Progressive Farmer, Winston-Salem, North Carolina, April 14th, 1886. All right, in 1839, a North Carolina slave named Stephen Slade invented a method of curing tobacco that enabled the creation of the modern cigarette. All right, a slave that wasn't allowed citizenship, therefore couldn't take the patent oath, all right, had this ripped from him and his family. Now, why is this important? All right, Philip Morris International is the world's largest tobacco company. It had a worth of $150 billion as of March 31st, 2023. The company is headquartered in New York and sells products in over 180 countries. Its well-known brands include Marlboro and Parliament. Here's your source. And all of this comes from a slave in South Carolina. All right, Victor Ochoa. All right, born in Mexico, 1850, invented electric brakes for streetcars. Ochoa was also an ardent supporter of the Mexican Revolution, and at one point there was even a $50,000 bounty on his head. The American Brake Company in Seattle got his patent in 1907. All right, the American Brake Company eventually became known as Abex Corp, and M&F Worldwide Corp acquired Abex in 1995. And the sole owner of M&F Worldwide is an oppressor. Ronald Perlman has a net worth of $1.9 billion. All right, Daniel Hale Williams III. Now, I'm sure a lot of folks have heard about him. He was the first Black man to perform an open heart surgery. All right, Daniel Hale Williams was the first physician to perform open heart surgery in the United States. But his great-grandfather on the 1790 census was listed as other free in Philadelphia. Now, what does other free mean? All right, the first census in 1790 had only 3 racial categories. The all other free persons included a subset of Native Americans who lived under U.S. jurisdiction. All right, the 1820 census renamed all other free persons to free colored persons. Census instructions provided no guidance on how Native Americans living under U.S. jurisdiction would be counted. All right, this was the erasure that I talked about earlier. This was the erasure of a culture of people that most people in the world know nothing about today. All right, Source Native Heritage Project. Let's walk. All right, Alexander Miles. Alexander Miles. All right, born in Duluth, Minnesota, designed an elevator that was able to open and close its own doors. When the elevator would arrive or depart from a given floor, the doors would move automatically. All right, Source National Inventors Hall of Fame. Now, what I'm trying to give y'all today in this class is something you wouldn't normally get when we're talking about Black inventors. All right, we're not going to talk about George Washington Carver. All right, we're not going to talk about Elijah McCoy. I'm not going to talk about Madam C.J. Walker because most of our audience understands and knows these names already. So I'm trying to give you names that you might not be readily familiar with. All right, Lewis Howard Latimer. And I know a lot of folks are familiar with Lewis Latimer, but I put him in here for one specific reason. All right, Lewis Latimer's inventions included the evaporative air conditioner and the carbon filaments for the light bulb. Now, prior to carbon filaments, Thomas Edison used to use paper filaments in his goddamn light bulb. All right, paper filaments that went out in a matter of seconds. All right, Lewis Latimer invented carbon filaments for the light bulb, and that's what the modern light bulb is based on. All right, in 1884, he worked for Thomas Edison's company, Edison Electric Light Company. 1936, the company changed its name to Consolidated Edison. And this is why I put Lewis Latimer in this specific class. Con Edison has a worth as of January 3rd, 2025 of $30.89 billion. And Lewis Latimer and his carbon filaments is the origin of the modern day light bulb. All right. This is what made Thomas Edison's company rich. And as of right now, Con Edison is worth almost $31 billion today. Again, the topic of tonight's class is Black and Brown Inventors and the White Patent Office. All right, Alice Parker. Alice Parker designed the central heating furnace in 1919. It made use of natural gas for the first time to keep homes warm. Many modern homes still employ a similar forced air heating system, for which her idea was the precursor. All right, so the origin of the central heating furnace comes from a Black woman named Alice Parker. All right, David Crossway Jr. All right, had expertise in air ventilation and central air conditioning and heat transfer systems. His system used a combination of hot and cold water to regulate the temperature in a building, making it the first central air conditioning system. All right, so if you heat or air condition your home today, all right, heating and air conditioning was designed by Black inventors. All right, heating and air conditioning in your home was designed by Black inventors. All right, Richard Spikes, all right, invented the automatic gear shift in 1932. All right, Richard Spikes is responsible for automatic transmission in vehicles. If it wasn't for Richard Spikes, half of y'all wouldn't be able to drive today. All right, Richard Spikes, a Black man, invented automatic transmission, 1932. Now, the first car to use automatic transmission was a 1948 Oldsmobile. And General Motors owned Oldsmobile for 96 years, from 1908 until they dropped it in 2004. And GM today is worth $56 billion. All right, what I want y'all to understand, Blacks, Hispanics, and North American Indians, we are the salt of the earth. All right, we are responsible for making the United States a superpower. All of our genius, all of our ingenuity is what made the United States a superpower. All right, Guillermo Gonzalez was a Mexican electrical engineer who was the inventor of the color TV. All right, anybody in your home, anybody at home right now watching this on their screen, all right, watching this on YouTube, watching this on their color TV, all right, you can thank a Mexican by the name of Guillermo Gonzalez, the inventor of color television. All right, graduated as an electrical engineer from the National Polytechnic Institute of Mexico City, source the inventor of the color TV. All right, RCA was the first brand to mass produce color televisions, with the CT100 model debuting in 1954. All right, RCA today exists only as a brand name. The RCA trademarks are currently owned by Sony Music Entertainment. And Sony today, as of December 28, 2024, is worth $128 billion. And the inventor of a color TV was Mexican. All right, biblical tribe of Issachar, the chosen people of God. All right, Albert Baez. All right, Mexican-American physicist who developed the X-ray microscope in 1960 while working with the Smithsonian Astrophysical Observatory at Cambridge, developed the X-ray microscope. All right, Dr. Charles Drew created a device that could preserve donated blood for transfusions. He patented the invention during World War II, a time when there was desperate need for blood donations. So we're talking about Dr. Charles Drew is responsible for even making blood transfusions possible today. So we're not even just talking about inventions, we're talking about innovations in medicine. All right, Dr. Charles Drew, a Black doctor, is responsible for the way we do blood transfusions today. All right, Marie Van Britten Brown was the inventor of the first home security system in 1969. It included speakers, closed-circuit television monitoring, automatic locks, and a panic button that would notify the police that there was an intruder. Her system was the blueprint for modern home security systems like Ring. Now, 2018, Amazon acquired Ring for $1 billion. All right, Ring is a home security company that sells a variety of smart home products, including video doorbells, security cameras, and alarm systems, all because of a Black woman in 1969 designed the original home security system. All right, James West. James West, all right, invented the full electric microphone in 1962. And 90% of the microphones produced annually are based on the principles of the full electric and are used in everyday items such as telephones, camcorders, hearing aids, baby monitors, and audio recording devices. Source: Johns Hopkins University. All right, Mark Dean. And again, I wanted to give y'all inventors you might not have heard before. All right, I wanted to get past the Madam C.J. Walkers. I wanted to get past the Garrett Morgans. I wanted to get past the George Washington Carvers and give y'all names, again, that you might not be familiar with. All right, in case you have to get into a battle with some oppressor about who's responsible for turning the United States into a superpower. All right, Mark Dean. All right, Mark Dean is the John Fisher Distinguished Professor in the Department of Electrical Engineering and Computer Science at the University of Tennessee. He is the developer of the colored PC monitor and the IBM personal computer. All right, Mark Dean, a Black inventor and distinguished professor, is the developer of the PC monitor and the IBM personal computer. Now, IBM, as of today, is worth $203 billion. All right, IBM as of today is worth $203 billion, and a Black professor is responsible for the color PC monitor and the IBM personal computer. All right, Lonnie Johnson. Lonnie Johnson. All right, invented the Super Soaker toy. All right, if anybody's old enough to remember. He also worked on the stealth bomber project for the Air Force and the Galileo space probe for NASA. All right, the Super Soaker toy, the stealth bomber, and the Galileo space probe for NASA. Now, this Super Soaker is owned by Hasbro under the Nerf brand, and Hasbro today has a worth of $7.77 billion, almost $8 billion today. All right, Diana Trujillo. All right, Diana Trujillo is a Colombian-American aerospace engineer at the NASA Jet Propulsion Laboratory, currently leading the engineering team at JPL, responsible for the robot arm of the Perseverance rover, and was the flight director for the Mars 2020 NASA mission. All right, this is the ingenuity and the genius of Blacks, Hispanics, and North American Indians. All right, aerospace engineer at the NASA Jet Propulsion Laboratory, currently leading the engineering team at JPL, responsible for the robot arm of the Perseverance rover, and was the flight director for the Mars 2020 NASA mission. All right, again, We are the salt of the earth. All right. All right. We are that thing that made the United States what it became. All right. We're responsible for making the United States a superpower. All right. Here's a quote from CEO of NIHF. It says, innovation drives the worldwide economy forward. And this is true. We read at the beginning of class that it was the Industrial Revolution that made the United States a superpower. It was all of this innovation during the Industrial Revolution that made the United States a superpower. At a time when blacks and indigenous people weren't even able to get a patent because we couldn't take the patent oath because we weren't considered citizens of the United States. The fact that we weren't able to become citizens of the United States and take the patent oath and take an allegiance to this country is why countless inventions, an unknown amount of inventions, were taken away from us, given to this country, and that's what made this country a powerhouse and a superpower during the Industrial Revolution. Now, before we end it, we'll end it with the scripture. All right, we're going to go into the book of Matthew chapter 5, verse 13. The book of Matthew chapter 5, verse 13. Ye are the salt of the earth. But if the salt have lost his savor, wherewith shall it be salted? It is thenceforth good for nothing, but to be cast out and to be trodden under the foot of men. Now, when it says ye are the salt of the earth, it's talking about blacks, Hispanics, and North American Indians. We are the salt of the earth. We are the flavor of the earth. We are the people that keeps this place moving. We're the fuel. We're the battery for this place. All right. If it wasn't for blacks, Hispanics, and North American Indians, the United States would look like Bosnia right now. If it wasn't for blacks, Hispanics, and North American Indians, this place would look like Croatia right now. But it's because of the ingenuity, the genius, the inventions of the Lord's chosen people that made the United States what it became. But if the salt have lost its savor, wherewith shall it be salted? We read at the beginning of class that the indigenous people of Mexico were making rubber 2,000 years before Goodyear came along, took the invention, and made a multi-billion-dollar company out of it. We read how black people, because of slavery, weren't able to get a patent for inventions. And even after the Emancipation Proclamation, because of certain laws that were in effect, all right, blacks, Hispanics, and North American Indians weren't even considered citizens. Because of the Dred Scott decision said that black people were never intended on being citizens. And without being able to claim allegiance to a country, without being able to claim a citizenship, we couldn't get a patent pushed. And it was at this time in American history that the United States became a superpower. All right. It is thenceforth good for nothing, but to be cast out and to be trodden under foot of men. And that's what's become of our salt in this place. That's what's become of our intelligence, our genius, our ingenuity, our inventions in this place. We have made the United States the richest kingdom in the world, the richest kingdom since Egypt, the richest kingdom since ancient Egypt. We read about We read about the largest cigarette company in the world. We read about the largest, we read about IBM. We read about Con Edison. We read about General Motors, and all of these multi-billion-dollar companies that became successful off of the ingenuity and inventions of Blacks, Hispanics, and North American Indians. We have become trodden underfoot of men, under the foot of our oppressor. All right, so let's drop that. I want to invite every so-called Black, Hispanic, and North American Indian to tune in to our weekly content. All right, Monday night history class. All right, Tuesday night brotherhood class taught by Officer of 1,000. I'm a Wonga boy. Wednesday law class taught by Officer of 1,000, ISUPK. And Wednesday night, of course, the podcast, Cry Out, Spare Not, the baddest podcast around. And again, come get the biblical breakdown, the biblical solution to all of the viral videos going across the internet. And I'm going to end the class with a song, and we'll do one courtesy salute. All right, shalom. Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai Barakatham. Yahweh Shemalatham B'Shem Yahweh Shai. Class is dismissed.
Get caught lacking. Y'all seen these old cowboy movies? You go to the bar, nigga, you about to get tried. You go out in the bar, you got there drinking with your brothers and that shit, then you about to get tried out here. But don't be caught lacking. Don't kill your brother off some bullshit, man. Don't hurt your people, man. This is for protection only, man. I got family out this bitch, man. I got brothers out this bitch I gotta protect. Somebody trying to run up on us, we lacking. What we gonna do? Fight a nigga with a machine gun? Now we're gonna bust your ass. We'll cut your head out and bring it back to the Lord, man. UPK shit, man. Hey, man. Much confidence, say it's a problem. All I do is try to pull a woman and say I'm a monster. But really, it ain't nothing, I'm just like my brothers. But shit, you know you look better with me, yeah. Girl, you know you look better with me. How I pull up and then shock, I do my dance on them, what the fuck. How I judge, run it up, you come in flashy, girl, boy, stop, bitch. Okay, you know you look better with me. I pull up with lines, I'm a judo with a nigga pride, I'm just like a lion. My woman cook, clean, fuck, and shut the fuck up, yeah. I got bigger piles to worry about than you in the adultery. But shit, you know you ain't going nowhere. Hey, taking my move with the bass, trying to walk to the place. Ice on me, come and skate. You really a hoe wanna escape. Yeah, we up, fishy face, or outwork me, what you think? Pretty girl, good taste. Wanna know all my traits. You know I'm on attention. I'm James Brown to the Israel. Bullets long, yeah, extensions. The nigga hate what they mention. Y'all pull up how I'm gifted. I'm Mike Jacks with the fisting. Beat it like I'm Thriller. She say I'm obnoxious. Say I got way too much confidence. Say it's a problem. All I do is try to pull a woman and say I'm a monster. But really, it ain't nothing. I'm just like my brothers. But shit, you know you look better with me, yeah. Girl, you know you look better with me. How I pull up and then shock. I do my dance on them, what the fuck. How I judge, run it up. You come in flashy, girl, boy, stop, bitch. Okay, you know you look better with me, damn. Bitch, you basic. If you don't want a South Coast nigga, you chasing ranking. And really, you ain't even damn exquisite. And bitch, you faking. Wanna rush a dog sick nigga. In the picture I painted. And I mean, everywhere I say T, might give you some flavor. But I guess you ain't even wanna take it. Bitch, you outdated. And you done gave it up for some paper. You just like your main man. Start with 3 damn baby daddies. Bitch, what you thinking? You were thinking with your damn bodies, huh? You the type motherfucker wanna pull up, how the fuck when the fuck, huh? Then beat it from the back, no damn attack, it was just for lunch, huh? Dirty damn bot pussy bitch, wanna talk shit on the low, huh? Wanna diss everybody with, cause you don't even know how they go, say I'm obnoxious. Say I got way too much confidence, say it's a problem. All I do is try to pull a woman and say I'm a monster. But really, it ain't nothing, I'm just like my brother. just run it up. Come and flash a girl, boy, stop, bitch. Okay, you know you look better with me, dance. I don't know, trying to get right with the preacher, probably on the low, huh? What the fuck you talking about, girl? You already know what the fuck we on, huh? We ain't passing them bitches, but you get right, what you already know, huh? Bitch, you know you look better with me, yeah. Backstage.